think it's working now.
Yay. All right, I think we're live.
All right.
Okay.
Dr. Hess, over to you.
And over to me. Okay. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you on this Monday. And we are here, of course, gathered for our board meeting. So looking at our agenda for today, we'll call to order and verify the quorum. Go ahead and go down and take our roll if we can. Ms. Schmaltz.
Sure. Yes. Okay. So Dr. Hess.
Here.
Mr. Landreth.
Here.
Mrs. Schmaltz is here. Mrs. Mendoza.
Here.
Ms. Garrison.
Here.
Mr. Dunn.
Here.
Mrs. McNeil.
Here.
And Dr. Windsor and Dr. Tejan are absent.
And it is likely the case that Dr. Windsor is probably not going to pop in at any moment that I know of. There's a chance. It depends on whether he has connection or not. And then same thing's true with Ben. He is, I said it earlier, but I wasn't sure if everyone was here. His father, he's been with his father right now. And so just kind of hanging out with him. So we will go ahead and get started. That means we have a quorum. And we'll start by approving the previous minutes. You should have those in your email. And if you want to have a look. Can also share screen, I suppose, if we needed to, but does anyone need that?
Did you need me to share the minutes, or are we good?
I think we might be good. I think everyone has a copy. And so at this point, just waiting for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, so moved. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, a second from Tony. We can voice vote this. All in favor of approving the minutes from April 19th, 2021, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Minutes are approved. And Victoria, if you want to send a copy, or I can send a copy of the signed version to you, or I'll send it to Brian. I'll maybe CC both of you. Do we have any public comments? Comments from the public that we know of?
Not that I received through, not that I know of.
Okay. All right, then we can move right on ahead. And the executive leadership team report, I believe, Victoria, that is on your shoulders this time.
Okay, go ahead and share. Okay, can you all see it okay?
It's coming up on mine.
There it is.
Yep.
Nice.
So I'm really going to briefly go through the first few slides, as these are what Dr. Windsor normally would do, but just tracking the cases of COVID for Maricopa County. We're at just under 73 cases per 100,000 cases, and then percent positivity at 5.66% positivity. So you can see the trends there. And then this is just a report of vaccinations across Maricopa County. And so you can see the data there of those who are fully vaccinated, and the total percent of vaccinated people, total percent of population. You can see the number there for those who are over the age of 18 or over, and the percentage there, and then the same for those 65 and older and the percentage there. So again, just documentation from the CDC. This is as of May 12th. Data from Maricopa County only. Okay, and then our activity from campus, this is from our campus nurse as of May 13th. We had 216 scholars sent home with symptoms. And the number sent home from contact tracing is 87, 22 who have tested positive, 191 who have tested negative, and our number of employees who have tested positive, 11. And so we are doing some deeper analysis, grade level analysis on that data as well. Okay, and then here is our enrollment report. And this was updated as of May 11th. So you can see the number of current enrollments in kindergarten through 6th grade, highlighted in yellow. And then you can see the top capacity for each of those grade levels, how many we are hoping to get. And so as a total, right now we're sitting, as of May 11th, we were at 703. We've got more in the report as of this morning, right, Ms. Mendonça?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're sitting around seven something, and our top capacity is 1,030. So we still have lots of spots open. You can see the grade levels where we're seeing the biggest bubbles of enrollment need. Liberal Arts Academy is separate on here. So we have about 176 enrolled right now in the 7th through 9th grades out of 220. Any questions on that or anything, Mrs. Mendonça, to add on that?
No, I don't have anything to add.
I have a question just about the last page that you had about the reports on the just the status of the COVID, how many reports. Are we able to really discuss, how we actually feel about it? Or, I mean, because you guys are on the ground.
Yeah.
Do you feel good about that or?
Yeah, I don't, Dr. Hess, you might have to guide us a little bit because I'm not sure if this portion is just supposed to be a report and not a discussion.
Okay.
We can ask clarifying questions and those sorts of things, or then having follow-ups, because it's an information item only, and so we can't make any decisions based upon the information. Exactly. But we could, if we're asking questions about just clarifying what this means, that's within the scope of the agenda. So
okay, understood.
Yeah, I think as we get more grade level data, we might be able and we can track it across from when we started tracking it to now, we might have a better indication of, is this good or is this, are we going in the right direction or not? I don't know that we have any information right now to say that one way or the other.
And that data is for the whole year. It's not, yeah.
Right. I knew that. I just wanted to, I didn't want to overstep my boundaries. That's why I asked the question. So it's okay.
Yeah, and the analysis based upon the different grade levels is something that I had asked for, that I want us to have a conversation about in the future at some point, because I think that would be something for us to think about on what steps are necessary moving forward for the fall, just trying to think about how to plan ahead. And so that's something that I had asked for. And so we'll get there. I think it also makes a difference in terms of what the vaccination situation looks like for kids come the fall, but we just don't know at this point. So. And actually, the way I see those numbers, the positive cases of 22 is just one more than the last report that we had, if I recall correctly. So,
right, yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right, so that was the enrollment report, and then just an overview of some of the things we're doing as far as marketing. We're doing a social media blitz with Facebook and Instagram. The mailers. I'm not sure I can speak to these 3 different numbers.
We've had two already go out, and we're doing our 3rd one out. And each time they go out, there's 15,000 that go out.
Okay.
Who do they go to?
There's a targeted zip codes, and I don't know what they are, but there's targeted areas that they send them to.
And then we are using we have had the chat bot installed on our website so that we can communicate faster with prospective families. So Our front office staff and our principal, Dr. Windsor, the registrar, are using that feature. And then we are opening up for tours, one family at a time, masked and screened with all of the COVID questions, so that we can provide tours for families. So we try to get our numbers up.
In terms of the overall enrollment, just kind of thinking back, we probably ask this question every single year, but we feel that obviously we want higher enrollments. Is this similar to previous years in terms of where we are? It's kind of a weird year, I know, but what's your sense?
Well, our kindergarten, because we only had 3 classes this year, so the kindergarten numbers were already low, and that's what's leading up into first grade. So that's not typical. Normally we have 5 full kindergarten classes going up into first grade. So I would say that those primary numbers are lower than normal. The K1 numbers I would say are lower than normal.
Kinder it's usually a last minute. It seems like parents realize, oh, I have to enroll. And it usually picks up a little bit more like June and July. First was definitely affected. And we also realized we're probably going to get a good amount of enrollment for scholars because, Arizona doesn't require you to go to school until you're 6. So we might get a good many kids enrolling in first grade this coming year that have never been in kindergarten.
Oh.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Okay. And Mrs. Mendoza, do you have an update on testing?
Yeah, so we did complete our AZM2. 3rd grade results have come back. So we'll be notifying families if we have to retain, which I was very pleased with the results on that. I don't know what the cut score was. They haven't really said anything, but I'm pleased with that. And one more thing on the AZM2, with the brick and mortar with the elementary school, we actually had about 98% completion, which I didn't think it would be that high. And I was really shocked at the number of online kids that came in and got their tests done. So
great.
Yeah, very happy with that. Even though the federal government gave us a waiver on the 95% completion, we would have had it anyway. MAP testing, today was the last day for that. And we know based on the data that's coming in, we're going to have a lot of work next year to do. There's really no surprises. We know there's some learning losses because of this past year and more. And we just are going to take that data and realize that, we'll use it to help us plan for next year and know where our gaps are. So,
Okay. And then finally, on the Take It Outside project, we have construction beginning June 7th, with completion by July. For the Take It Outside, the Convergent Synergy project, the Farm to School Planning Grant, we are nearing completion on that. Looking to the execution grant going into the planning phase, which we're hoping to apply to by next February. And then, just continuing with our partnership with ASU and our Convergent Synergy with that the research. We did have some folks out last week doing some surveys with the students and doing that part of the research for following up on those surveys that they did on their outdoor learning spaces. And of course, continuing to embed the curriculum into that project for Take It Outside, which will be implementing training in the summer with those new curriculum maps, and then implementing that in the fall, implementing our outdoor learning, outdoor spaces curriculum. Okay, and so with that, I think we'll go into Joel. Is Joel on the line?
I am. Good evening, board members. Do you want me to share the financial report?
Yeah, I can stop sharing here, Joel, if you want to.
You put all that into a very nice little screen right there.
Well, that was Dr. Windsor.
It was pretty. All right.
His stuff today.
Looks like the host has disabled screen sharing. So you all got a copy of the report over the weekend. I can go through it that way. It's easier. There's not a whole lot to update the board anew on. It's really just a continuation of the same trend that we've been on, with a really key update that we've just received this week already. So then with that said, let me pop through this report real fast. Let's start off. First of all, this report is actually year-to-date through 4/30 of 2021, and it is about 98% in for that period through 4/30. So these numbers are dependable and they're good to go, and are a fair representation of where we're at year-to-date. General information, page number 3 of the report. The current budget, we're still on track to what we had adjusted the budget to be. Once we started the fiscal year, we're still reporting right at the number that our budget is now based on, the revised version of the budget. So with that, the school is projected to achieve a debt service coverage of 1.12 times coverage exclusive of PPP forgiveness, which has now occurred. So it'll be significantly enhanced from 1.12. We're in good shape from a debt service coverage standpoint. And then from a days cash on hand standpoint, we're projecting to 168.96 days. And that's assuming a project cost that we have expended of $600,000 to complete the playground renovations, which that budget has been cut in half anyway, and we will in no means be expended to the full 300 even by the end of the fiscal year. So we're actually going to beat that number on the days cash side as well. So this year, another strong year from a performance standpoint, even with the reduced enrollment and the challenges we've had with state funding and whatnot. We're in good shape. Just as a quick FYI, on April 30th, the school did receive official confirmation from the Small Business Administration that the full value of its Paycheck Protection Program loan has been completely forgiven. So excellent work by all staff involved in that. It was extremely helpful for the school to have received and had the ability to spend those funds. It was very meaningful for the school. So we're next, statement of financial position, page number 4, real quick comparison to last year, with $2.9 million in cash as of April 30th this year, compared to 1.9 as of April 30th last year. The growth in cash through efficient operations, additional receipts of federal grants ahead of schedule. A little bit of that is timing. And then obviously Paycheck Protection did do some to enhance our cash position for sure. So we're in great shape from a liquidity standpoint. The school's well positioned to grow this next year. Accounts payable and every other element of your statement of financial position is largely unchanged from the prior year. We're running very consistent. One thing I wanted to point out to the school, and you might not recall, some of you might not even have been around, but when I started working with the school in 2016, we had a net asset deficit, meaning that we had negative equity, if you will. We now, as of 4/30, are running a $2.2 million equity position through operations. That's a cumulative number since the inception of the organization, but we've pulled ourselves from a negative to a significant positive. And the majority of that equity, if you will, is liquid, which is fantastic. So moving into budget versus actual, this is, I don't know if we even talked in detail about this, but the school had a data anomaly, an error at the end of last fiscal year, the last reporting period that we could upload student data to the state. The state had changed something, and it resulted in a little more than 100 of our students erroring out of our funded count. And they wanted to charge us back $697,000 if that error were in fact correct. We identified it immediately and have been working literally since the end of last fiscal year to the beginning of this week to get that error resolved. They had been charging us back actively since October based on that amount. We filed the correction reports, got the data cleared. They've released it to funding payments. And as of the June 1st payment, we will be paid not just correctly for this year, but we'll also receive back the money that they've taken against last year incorrectly. So as I've circled this on page number 5, this item right here, that $248,000 deficit in state funding against our budget is exactly that. They've been charging us back against this amount that was incorrect, and we'll be receiving all of that back. So we'll be square on our budget there, and then we'll get paid properly year to date for this year. So it'll be a pretty good size equalization payment coming on June 1. And I just want to shout out to Selma, who worked diligently for months on this, and it's a hassle to do. It wasn't her issue. She didn't cause the problem. She just had to work to fix it for months and months. And she did. She got it done. So congratulations to the school. We're now back on track from a budget standpoint. We never thought we wouldn't be, but it's nice to know that it's official and it's done. The under receipt on the federal side here is just timing. That's not something that I'm at all worried about. We'll come in at budget for the year. On the Fed side, we just have yet to receive all of those funds. On the expense side, on the aggregate, $262,000 under expended. This is a lot of different things, but the primary player here is this employee benefits section. This is significantly supported by some of the CARES Act legislation for paid employee sick leave related to COVID and that sort of thing. So we had less expense on the tax side than we otherwise would have for this year. We've also run leaner than I anticipated we would from a budget standpoint on employee health benefits. So we're in great shape on our budget. A lot of that savings has come through benefits, but there are other areas too that we have not expended in the budget. I thought the majority of this, I still feel the majority of this will hold through the end of the fiscal year. So the performance that I'm projecting for this year will be further enhanced if we don't expend our budgeted capacity between now and the end of June. So great shape there. Comparison this year to last year, we've received $283,000 more in revenues total, but if that's a lot of that was Paycheck Protection Program forgiveness that's funded up here. And then on the revenue side from the state, $416,000 less year to date. We're about to catch up on that. And we've only spent $153,000 more than last year. And some of that is related to our COVID response. We've spent more in certain areas and maintained positions related to our response. So we're in good shape compared to last year and in very good shape compared to the budget. Net cash increase since the start of the fiscal year, we're down $202,000, and we will catch back up to a little bit better than zero handily by the end of June of this year. So we're in great shape there. Here's projections through the end of the year for 2021. We were projecting that 1.12 coverage. It'll be further enhanced by over $700,000 in revenue from Paycheck Protection Forgiveness. I didn't even put a number in here because it's very strong. We're in good shape there, and cash is also excellent. I left you here with the draft, the current version of the draft for the upcoming year's budget and a comparison to the 2021 budget, just as an FYI. And we're starting the year with an enrollment projection that anticipates 950 enrolled students in grades kindergarten through Beth and Victoria's at 10. That we're
9.
Just 9?
Yeah.
Moving up one grade, 950 through 9, kindergarten through 9. And our outcomes are anticipated to start the year with a projection of 1.16 times coverage at the end of the year, 134 days cash. What's not included in this budget at this time are significant federal revenues in the form of ESSER grants. There are 3 waves of ESSER funding that the school will receive. ESSER 2 is $900,000. And ESSER 3 is more than twice that amount. The school has until 2024 and even into 2025 to fully expend these monies. They can be used to support the operation in general, as well as enhance educational opportunities for students that are behind grade level. So we've got significant additional financial resources that are not budgeted here that will support the school's performance, its growth, and its students' academic achievement. And theoretically, all of those revenues could be allocated against expenses already in this budget. So it would be strictly revenue enhancing. We may not choose to do that, but you've got a very, very clear path for the next 3 years when it comes to meeting our students' needs and maintaining our financial sustainability. I'm going to pause there and see if there's any questions from the board. I don't see anything. So with that, I think I'll turn it back over to you all.
Okay, any last questions for Joel before he departs?
Dr. Hess, do you need me for anything else on the agenda later?
I don't believe so. And so at this point, I think you are good to go there, Joel.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joel.
Thank you once again.
Thanks, Joel.
Thank you.
Okay, then Victoria, I take it that's the end of the executive report, or was there something else at the very bottom?
Yeah, that's the end of the executive report.
Okay, then we are ready to move on to our first discussion and vote item, which is the calendar. And so last month we had a brief discussion about how we weren't ready. So I believe we are ready now. We'll calendar real fast.
Yes. Do you want me to, let me see if I can.
I could share screen on that if you'd like. Go for it. Hold on, there it is.
Okay, sorry, give me 1 sec. That's pulled up. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll just kind of scroll through. We put back in, I mean, things are pretty much back on track the way we normally would have our calendar. We put back in, all of our professional development days, our back to school night, our quarterly celebrations, and just all of the things we normally would do, book fair and all that kind of stuff. So if everybody had a chance to review it, I don't know if there's any questions.
I have a question about December there. Am I seeing that correctly? That it looks like the 29th, 30th, and 31st are in session. Is that correct?
No. Those should be marked out because winter break is the 20th through the 31st.
Right. Okay. So
If you look to the side, it's
Yeah.
right on the, yeah.
Okay. So that's just make note of that on the visual element, it's not shown there. But
yeah, we need to go in and mark those out as well.
Okay. So, okay. Spring break.
We do have the intercession again. This coming school year, the 14th or the 25th will be the intercession, and then the quarter will begin on the 28th.
Okay. Looks like everything else is staying the same. You've got 2:30 and 3 o'clock as the dismissal times, and
Yep.
Yeah.
Office hours are the same.
So during the intercession, kids are going to school? Is that what I understand?
They do go to school during the intercession.
Okay.
Just it's sort of like a 2-week period before the actual quarter begins, and that during that time there's just we're doing a lot of catching up, finishing projects, and preparing for the quarter to start. But spring break is the 7th through the 11th, and then we have the 2-week intercession. That's your time period. Then we start the quarter. Any other questions?
And in regards to the intercession, is that always been there, or is this something new?
We had it this year.
Okay.
we had that this year. And so, yeah, we haven't always had it every year. We did end up with an intersession this year. And so it looks like it just kind of depends on how the quarters get split, because we want to make sure each quarter has 9 weeks in it and that we still have our, 180 days of school. So it's just a kind of a way to make sure that we have.
I think we have 181 on this calendar.
Okay, any other questions?
For me.
All right, so we actually need to vote on this particular item. This is a voting item, so I need to have a motion and a second to get there.
I'll make a motion to approve
I'll
the
second.
fiscal year.
Okay. Motion is sent forward by Melissa and seconded by Tony. And I think we'll go ahead and do a roll call vote on this just to be sure.
Sounds good. Okay, so the motion is to approve the fiscal year 2022 Paideia Academy's calendar. So we will vote. Dr. Hess,
Yes.
Mr. Landreth,
Yes.
Mrs. Schmaltz is a yes, Mrs. Mendoza,
Yes.
Ms. Garrison,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mrs. McNeil,
Yes.
and it was unanimous. Motion passes.
Okay, motion passes. That gets us to our last item that's on the docket for today, which is going to be, unfortunately, a short conversation because we are not as far into that process as we had hoped. But I can give you some background as to where we are. This is the discussion about secession planning and executive director contracts. This is what I've been working on with Ben and with Dr. Windsor about this, and we are not in a position to actually have the full discussion. So what that will look like eventually is we are ordering up a study to get some comparable data to make sense of what that plan will look like. And we're waiting for the results of that study to come forward. I was hoping that Ben could have jumped in, but he doesn't look like he can make it. And so let me double check my email, make sure he did not email me. But what I can tell you this is that what we're gonna try to do is, and we've negotiated with council about this, we are going to have Ben and Dr. Windsor and I will have a separate set of negotiations, and then we'll bring the discussion to the board with what our recommendations are for a fuller discussion. And so we think that that might help out in the overall process, and we'll let you know how that goes as it moves forward. But we're still waiting for more data from the comparable studies and things. And so that's where we're at on that item. And I do not have an email from Ben. So any questions about that? I know it seems like we've been waiting to do this discussion over and over and over again, just kind of what's going on. So,
Or are we just moving it to the next board meeting?
yeah, so we'll have to table the discussion until the next board meeting. So we'll have to move to table it unless there's more discussion. So that's what we'll have to do to close the discussion today, if we'd like to do that. But that's the only thing we've got. So any other questions about that process as we wait?
Oh.
Do we have a motion to table that discussion for the next meeting then?
I'll move to table the discussion.
Thank you, Victoria.
Second.
Second from Lucas or Beth. I don't know who got there first. I think we can voice vote this. So all in favor of the motion on the floor to table the discussion until next week, say aye.
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 All opposed? And the motion passes. And so that gets us to our final item, which is adjournment. Did we finish this in 37 minutes? Is that what just happened?
Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Yes, please.
Since this is new, I've been on the board for a few months now. What do you guys do during the end of the year? Do you still have board meetings in the summer? Do we start up in August again or be July? What is the process usually?
We typically do have board meetings on the month-to-month basis. And then we have in the past actually had more of like a day of a retreat That has happened typically around August. I don't think we did that we did like an extended meeting in the very beginning. I think that was about it. And so the retreat is usually a time where we talk a little bit about open meeting law and some other ideas and just kind of the bare bones of what it means to be on the board as a refresher that we do every year. And that we have not talked about doing that this year, but that's probably something that we'll start talking about soon. That's my cat in the background.
Charles.
Okay, that's my cat Barley. He's fine, I swear. He's not being tortured by a third grader or something like that.
Stop stepping on his tail.
I know. I'm just. I don't even know where he is. Anyway, so any other questions or concerns?
None.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
So Tony has moved. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Julia.
Who's making the second? Mr. Landreth?
First and second.
Tony's trying to second his own motion.
Landreth is seconding. Got it.
All
I'm just
right.
picking someone.
Yes.
I saw motion.
All right, we can vote the adjournment. All those in favor of adjourning for the night, say aye.
All right.
All those opposed? For a second, I thought Tony was going to oppose just for fun. All right.
I was listening for your cat.
The cat definitely opposes. That's what's
Right.
all right. Well, I think we are complete then. And again, we'll just look for more emails about that last item for next time. So it's good to see you all.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Good seeing you.
everybody.